One day, my husband said something unbelievable. Mom is moving in with us at the beginning of next month, he announced. At that time, he only spoke to me when necessary, and we hardly had any conversation. That's quite sudden, isn't it? Do you have anything against that? It's not that, but I just wonder if your mom knows. Don't worry, there's no way she would refuse. He replied as if it were as natural as breathing. I've been enduring his condescending attitude and creepy smile for a long time. Now is the time to get back at him. I've been playing the obedient wife just for this. You know what to do, right? Yes, I know. 10 seconds after he finished talking, I called the lawyer I had arranged. Sorry, but please proceed. Then I called the moving company. I've been waiting for this moment. Yes, please come right away. Take all the furniture, appliances, everything in the house. What the hell are you talking about? I'm leaving just like you wanted. Satisfied? Why are you taking everything? He was clearly upset. What a pathetic man. But he still doesn't know that the real pain is just about to start. My name is Helena. I turned 30 this year. I currently work at City Hall. I wanted my parents to see their grandchild's face as soon as possible. And when I was 28, I met my husband, Martin. Sorry, I think my friend insisted too much today. It's totally fine. A mutual friend introduced him to me and we ended up having a meal together. According to our friend, we both wanted to get married early, so they arranged it thoughtfully. I'm a bit shy by nature. By the way, Helena, do you work as a public servant? Huh? Oh, yes. Any favorite foods? Well, I'm good with anything. I see. Our conversations often didn't last long, just like this one. I felt like I should have just declined and wanted to go home quickly. At that time, I thought Martin was probably bored too. But everything changed when Martin said one thing. Hey, isn't that keychain on your bag a limited edition one? Huh? You know about this? Of course. I have the same one. He showed me his key case. Sure enough, the same keychain was attached to it. I was pleasantly surprised to meet someone who shared the same hobby. After that, the atmosphere completely changed and we had a great time. We obviously made plans to meet again. Will you go out with me with marriage in mind? Martin said that on our third date. I didn't expect him to say it, but I still remember the joy I felt. It felt like I was dancing. If you're okay with me, that's how our relationship began. By the way, public servants don't face layoffs, right? Yes, they're generally considered stable. As long as you don't do anything weird, you can work until retirement, right? Is there a problem? No, it's just something I've been curious about. After that, Martin frequently asked questions about public servants. At that time, he was just a regular office worker, probably seeking stability. 3 months later, he proposed and I accepted. However, I gave him one condition. That was not to live together with anyone else. That's how our married life began. But after marriage, Martin showed his true face, and it was awful. Since we're going to live together now, I'll help with the housework as much as I can. Really? That would be a great help. Leave it to me. At first, splitting housework between the two of us, including cleaning and laundry, went well. I appreciated his cooperation and enjoyed doing chores together. But at some point, he stopped helping with the housework and started lounging around the house. At that time, I couldn't predict such a change would come. Can you help with the cleaning? Cleaning? Sorry, I'm a bit busy. Can't it wait? How long will it take? I can say for sure. He said he was busy, but he was just messing around on his phone and computer, not looking busy at all. The most he would do was sort the garbage. Even just taking it out would have been fine, but I always ended up handling the important things myself. Then one morning, I'll be late today, so I don't need dinner. How late? Around what time? When I asked that, I thought I heard him click his tongue. How would I know when? If I said I'll be late, then I'll be late. Martin was clearly irritated. I couldn't understand why he was so angry when I just asked a simple question. Then I did something that rubbed him the wrong way. How can you not know? Shut up. I told you. I don't know. Sorry. You really ruined my mood this morning. Just stop it. He left for work after uttering those words. After that, I felt remorseful. I went to work with a heavy heart. What's the matter today? You don't seem well. It was my boss, Mona, 3 years older than me, who asked me. I'm sorry. I messed up a bit this morning. From the looks of it, did something happen with your husband? Huh? Can you tell? You pick it up after nearly 10 years of marriage. I felt I could trust her with my concerns, so I told her about that morning's events. Maybe you asked him one too many times. I thought so, but that might not be the only issue. What do you mean? My husband was in a similar situation before. I had a bad feeling. From what Mona was saying, I could sense something was wrong. What happened in the end? I asked cautiously. Before that, were there any other strange changes? Other things? I thought about it, and the only other issue I could think of was that Martin wasn't helping with the housework. When I told Mona about that, she crossed her arms and seemed to ponder something. This is just my opinion, but could it be that something happened at work? In my case, when I confronted my husband, he had been laid off. And what did you do then? I wasn't angry, but I felt sad that he didn't tell me about it. Men tend to have too much pride, don't they? That's true. So they're too embarrassed to talk about it themselves. I felt a pang of anxiety in my chest. What if Mona was right? With my personality, I didn't think I could directly ask Martin. That day, I couldn't focus on work and ended up going home feeling restless and uneasy. What should I do? Then an idea came to mind. I immediately picked up the phone. Hello. I wanted to ask you something about Martin. Sure, but what is it? I was just wondering how Martin's job has been lately. You mean if things are going well? Yeah. I was hoping you'd heard something. I ran into him the other day, and he didn't seem to have any problems. Got it. Thanks. Sorry for calling out of the blue. The worries I had vanished. If Martin's longtime friend vouched for him, I could believe it. If there are no problems, that's enough. Time passed, but it became more noticeable that Martin was coming home late. Are you coming home late again tonight? Yeah, I've been a bit busy lately. Okay, don't overdo it. Yeah, I know. Then, one day, I saw an unexpected sight of Martin. Around noon, on my way to the convenience store, a car drove past. It was only for a moment, but I immediately recognized the driver as Martin. But something was wrong. What's the matter? No, it's just... I feel like I just saw Martin drive past in a car. Wait, doesn't your husband commute by train? Yes, and it should take about an hour to get to his workplace by train. My previous anxiety resurfaced. Unable to stay still, I decided to follow him. I caught up quickly as the car stopped at a traffic light. The car pulled into a parking lot. Is that an internet cafe? Why would he be here? Mona's words echoed in my head. Could your husband be out of a job? I quickly took out my phone and snapped a picture of him entering the cafe. You startled me when you suddenly took off running. I'm sorry, I just wanted to confirm it properly. So, what did you find? As I mentioned before, my husband might have quit his job. Well, the next step is up to you, but I'm always here to listen. Come on, lunch break is almost over, let's head back. That night, I made up my mind and asked Martin, did you really go to work today? Huh? Of course, I did. Then what's this? His face immediately changed color. So, I guess I've been caught. As you suspected, Helena, I quit my job. Even though I sensed it, hearing it directly from him was so shocking that my mind went blank. But he had lied to me, and this was just the beginning. Why did you do that? I was overwhelmed by feelings I couldn't explain. I've always wanted to be a writer. A writer? I didn't know how to respond to that confession. I was speechless at his unexpected answer. Then Martin raised his voice and said, I always thought it was impossible, but in the end, I wanted to pursue my dream. Without consulting me at all, I couldn't understand what he was thinking. The thought that he had been living with me while thinking about this all along made me lose trust in him. More questions arose in my mind. Is this something you've wanted since before we got married? Yeah, even back then, I was thinking about quitting my job someday to spend more time on what I love. Doesn't that count as betraying me? Huh? Why would you say that? Isn't it obvious? After proposing, you asked me so many questions about my job as a public servant. But you actually intended to quit your job to chase your dream all along, didn't you? Martin began laughing as if he had been liberated and started answering. Yeah, that's right. But your salary was lower than I expected, which I didn't plan for. What? But don't worry, I'll figure something out soon and our income will increase. Deep down, I thought there was no way this plan would succeed, but I couldn't bring myself to say it, so I swallowed my words. From the next day, Martin became less considerate of me and began acting differently than before. His behavior and words made me feel that something was changing in our relationship. He started looking down on me and giving orders. I'm going to focus on writing from now on, so don't interrupt me. Soon, you'll be the wife of a best-selling author. Understood. I thought it was impossible. So, I contacted my friend again. I suspected that my friend might have lied to me too, but I quickly realized that wasn't the case. I was just about to contact you. Great timing. Can I go first? Martin quit his job, but did you really not know about it? Hold on. Did he say he quit on his own? Yes, he did. My friend's reaction wasn't quite what I expected. It was as if her expression was saying, "That's not right. I heard this from someone, but it seems like Martin didn't quit. He was laid off." Huh? Laid off? You mean he was fired? And the reason was because he embezzled company funds. You've got to be kidding. But that's a crime. I never thought he'd go this far. It seems he finally crossed a line he shouldn't have. I heard he avoided prosecution by paying everything back. Even if that's true, what's wrong is wrong. And there's more. As soon as I heard my friend's words, my head started to hurt. How awful a man could he be? The story so far was already bad enough. But there's still more? I took a deep breath. So, what else has he done? Well, when I heard what she said, I felt pity before surprise. But now, Martin had no escape. I had crucial evidence in my hands. Thank you for the information. So, what are you going to do now? Do you want to hear? Nah, I can kind of imagine, so I'll pass. And so, the desire for revenge against him grew stronger within me. I thought that just laying out the facts wouldn't be satisfying enough, so I decided to give him despair so crushing that he couldn't recover. So, for a while, I played the role of the obedient wife. Dragging him down from his current height to the depths of despair would be more effective as revenge. How's the writing going? It's going well. Maybe I should let you read it. I'd love to read it. When I read his novel, I was stunned. Not because I thought it was amazing. On the contrary, it was so terrible that I was speechless. I think it's a pretty good piece. I really like it, right? After telling that small lie to make him happy, he cheerfully returned to his room. Around that time, I started noticing my mother-in-law's behavior. I didn't have much interaction with her because I didn't like her. But after finding out about Martin's situation, she began contacting me more frequently. Most of her messages were complaints, and when I'd say, "It must have been really tough," she'd reply, "Exactly." Her complaints mainly revolved around my late father-in-law, who passed away before I started dating Martin. Apparently, he was quite the authoritarian husband, and she seemed to have been haunted by that past for a long time. Whenever I gently brought up Martin, she'd say, "It's only natural for a wife to support her husband, isn't it? Didn't I just tell you that?" "True." I'd reply. She'd then continue, "When my husband was alive," but no matter if the topic changed, she'd eventually circle back to talking about my father-in-law. I was halfway to giving up on her. She didn't seem to feel any guilt about Martin either. For a while, my mother-in-law continued to contact me, but one day, her calls suddenly stopped. Talking to her was exhausting, so I was secretly relieved when she stopped reaching out. Then, one day, my husband said something unbelievable. "Mom is moving in with us at the beginning of next month," he announced. At that time, he only spoke to me when necessary, and we hardly had any conversation. That's quite sudden, isn't it? Do you have anything against that? It's not that, but I just wonder if your mom knows. Don't worry, there's no way she would refuse. He replied as if it were as natural as breathing. It seemed like he hadn't told her yet, but knowing my mother-in-law, she probably wouldn't refuse. But what about the preparations? I'll take care of that. Do I need to do anything? You have a more important role to play. I immediately understood what he meant. I've been enduring his condescending attitude and creepy smile for a long time. Now is the time to get back at him. I've been playing the obedient wife just for this. You know what to do, right? Yes, I know. 10 seconds after he finished talking, I called the lawyer I had arranged. Sorry, but please proceed. Then I called the moving company. I've been waiting for this moment. Ignoring Martin's shout, "Who are you calling?" I continued my conversation. Yes, please come right away. Take all the furniture, appliances, everything in the house. What are you talking about? I'm leaving just like you wanted. Satisfied? Why are you taking everything? Martin was clearly upset. What a pathetic man. They're available right now, so they'll be here soon. 15 minutes later, the movers arrived. I immediately gave them instructions. Stop them right now. Why? Wasn't I the one who bought most of the things in this house? Or did you forget? But even so, you insisted on buying new stuff even though we didn't have the money. Oh, I see. That's why you used your company's money, isn't it? He stood there, stunned and wide-eyed. He was probably shocked that I knew about it. What a fool. How do I know? It's disgusting that you do something like that. You're the lowest of the low. Who told you that? That's not the issue. Everything has come to light. Did you say you wanted to be a writer to cover up the fact that you were fired? That's not it. Writing really was my dream. While we argued, all the furniture and appliances disappeared from the room. Seeing the empty room, Martin looked devastated. I couldn't help but laugh. Why are you laughing? That's when I decided to push him even further. I decided to call my mother-in-law. Who are you calling now? Just stop this already. No, we're just getting started. Your mom is coming. What if she arrives now? What am I going to do? Figure it out yourself. I can't. Martin still seemed to be hiding something. Is there something else you're not telling me? I don't have any money right now, and mom is drowning in gambling debt. Please, you have to help me. At that moment, he started to cry. I was shocked about my mother-in-law's situation, but seeing a grown man crying right in front of me was just pathetic. That's not my problem. She's your mother, so deal with it yourself. Asking for help like this is disgraceful. The sudden drop in contact from my mother-in-law was undoubtedly because she was too engrossed in gambling. They're both hopeless, mother and son. 30 minutes later, my mother-in-law arrived with a bang. Welcome. Please come in. I led her to the living room where nothing was left. There, sitting on the floor and still crying, was Martin. Seeing this, my mother-in-law was left speechless, frozen with her mouth wide open. What on earth happened? And why is the room empty? I'll explain everything now. I turned to my mother-in-law and began telling her the truth. Wait, hold on. This isn't a lie, right? No, it's not a lie. It's all true. If you don't believe me, ask Martin yourself. Martin, explain yourself properly. He was visibly terrified of his mother's words. The scene that followed was unbearable to watch. Martin couldn't even give his mother a straight answer. I understand everything now. This woman is the root of the problem. What? Unexpectedly, my mother-in-law made me her target. I couldn't hide my surprise at her reaction. You should be the one solving this problem. But I didn't need to endure anymore. Neither Martin nor my mother-in-law mattered to me anymore. I'm the victim here. Why am I being blamed? Whether you're a victim or not isn't the issue. I sighed. I went to my room to fetch something. There's no point in talking. Look at this. I threw a document down in front of Martin. Is this a divorce paper? You can see it for yourself. You wanted me out of this house, right? Martin tried to mount one last defense. Little did he know how futile it would be. You're going to regret divorcing me. Don't think a woman like you will find someone else to marry. You really don't understand anything, do you? What are you talking about? I then showed him several photos of him leaving a hotel with a young woman I didn't recognize. Martin turned pale as he looked at the photos. You understand now, right, Mother? This man embezzled from his company and cheated on me. He's just a useless man. Please stop this. I'll apologize. I'm not looking for an apology. Where did all that bravado go? Watching my mother-in-law corner Martin, I realized how much trouble he was in. Did you really go this far? What were you thinking? It was just a moment of weakness. No excuses. I don't remember raising you like that. Predicting their conversation would drag on, I threw a decisive remark at Martin. Well, don't forget the property division. Property division? I don't have anything to pay. I'll leave that matter to the lawyer. You should be hearing from them soon. Wait, he tried to cling on to me, but I pushed him away. As he crumpled to the floor, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. Goodbye. The rest is up to you too. Please, don't leave me. When Martin tried to chase after me, his mother stopped him. First, you need to explain yourself properly. I'll explain in detail later. This isn't the time for that. If things continue like this, it's really over. You can't even listen to your mother? I left them both and walked out of the house. As much as I wanted to see more, I couldn't bear to stay another second. Hellish days awaited the two of them, but that was no longer my concern. Please, can't we talk one more time and work this out? This was what Martin said when I returned to my parents' house. Do you really mean that? I'm serious. At least Mom has gone home. Oh, I see. But sorry, that's not going to happen. Why not? If you can't understand that much, then you should just give up. Truly pathetic. No matter what happens, Martin is no longer my concern. 2 weeks later, the divorce was finalized through the lawyer and he was ordered to pay property division. Moreover, it seems he took out loans to repay the embezzled money. So it looks like his struggles are far from over. In the end, Martin couldn't even pay the rent and ended up moving back in with his mother. However, her place was also rented, so they eventually moved to a cheap apartment. Now, I hear my mother-in-law works at the local supermarket day and night. They're always fighting, and their arguments have become quite notorious in the neighborhood. I've heard from someone living near their apartment that their quarrels are an everyday occurrence. Apparently, they curse at each other daily, causing a lot of trouble for the other residents with their noise. This is how it all ended up like it seems. Yes, too much has happened, and I'm exhausted. Well, it's time to relax now. Yes, I will. From now on, I want to enjoy life just for myself. I'm now living fulfilling days by finding new hobbies, traveling with friends, and focusing on work. I never want to go back to that kind of married life again. When I think about the stress and hardships, I truly appreciate how wonderful my current peaceful and free life is. Once in a lifetime is more than enough for such an experience. From now on, I want to cherish myself and live a happy life.
My 20-year-old lover is pregnant. I like younger women, so I want a divorce. These words suddenly fell upon me. I knew that Todd had a lover, but I was shocked to learn that she was pregnant. And what does he mean by liking younger women? It's not funny at all. However, the next words Todd spoke shocked me even more. I'm also planning to move in with my lover soon. I'm sorry, but I need you to leave this house. I want a divorce, but I hope you'll continue working. I feel that we no longer need PR, but other employees still think it's necessary. Todd continued. At that moment, the door opened without a knock, and a young woman entered. Is it over, Todd? I instinctively knew that this woman was Todd's lover, an unforgivable person who deprived me of my happiness. But the next moment, I doubted my ears. She came here for a surprising reason. After hearing her reason, I began to devise a plan. My name is Daisy Miller, and I am 45 years old. Born in spring, I was named Daisy. Despite its simple origin, I am very fond of this name. My parents have passed away, and as I grow older, my attachment to this name strengthens. Not many people compliment my name, but Todd has liked it since we first met. Daisy, like the name of a flower? It's cute. Your parents must have been wonderful. I met Todd just after graduating from university. After failing at job hunting, I was working part-time at a convenience store while desperately searching for a full-time career. At that part-time job, I met Todd, who was in a similar situation. Being the same age and sharing similar circumstances, we quickly connected and began building a deep bond. Even as part-timers, we held great hopes for the future and shared a common determination to succeed. I chose my university carelessly and spent years without a specific goal, but Todd's situation was entirely different. He confided in me. I planned to work at other companies to gain knowledge and experience after graduation. However, an unexpected development occurred, and now I am preparing to start my own business. During his university days, Todd primarily studied economics, but he also studied computer science. Foreseeing that the future market would shift towards technology, he decided, I am determined to establish my own IT company. When Todd spoke about his ambitions, his expression was bright and full of life. His passion strongly influenced me, making me respect and love him even more. As we started dating, sharing our youth and common dreams, we quickly came to understand each other deeply. When I revealed my feelings to Todd, he warmly accepted them, and we became even closer. We officially became a couple, and the time we spent together, even while working part-time, became exceptionally enjoyable. Todd increased his part-time jobs and began working multiple jobs as he prepared to start his own business. His effort and dedication showed how much he was committed to realizing his dreams. Seeing him work almost without sleeping, I worried about his health and suggested we start a business together. This proposal offered me a chance to save money and simultaneously reduce Todd's excessive burden. Initially, Todd felt anxious about this new endeavor, but sensing my determination and serious attitude, he eventually opened up and accepted the proposal. I persuaded my parents, who constantly urged me to find a full-time job, and to reassure them, I continued working part-time while systematically saving for startup funds over the span of about 5 years. Todd also used his past savings and, working more hours than I did, we were able to achieve our fundraising goal sooner than expected. Daisy, thanks to you, all preparations are complete. It will start in a small room, but this finally realizes our company, he said, and with those words he hugged me firmly. Although establishing the company and realizing our dream brought great joy, our part-time jobs continued as before. Finding new employment was more difficult than expected, and our cherished savings gradually depleted. As a result, stress increased, and frequent arguments about continuing our work led to a tense atmosphere every day. Yet, I continued my earnest efforts, promoting our business while working part-time and aggressively launching many advertisements online. This hard work finally bore fruit, catching the eye of a well-known company's CEO, and our business rapidly began to attract attention. Todd was tearful with joy at this opportunity, and as a result of working through the night, our project was a huge success, allowing us to earn an unprecedented amount of money. The moment we received this huge profit, filled with hope for the future, Todd proposed with a broad smile. Now I can finally marry you, Daisy. Will you marry me? I wholeheartedly accepted his proposal, and we got married, overflowing with happiness. Just as we started our new life, the workload increased, and we began to live busy days without much time to slowly savor our happiness. Despite the busyness, the company continued to grow steadily, moving from the small room we started in to a high-rise building located in a prime area. Business was going smoothly, and the progress of our operations was rapid. However, as the company grew, so did the media attention, and we began to normalize daily TV and magazine interviews, which started to influence us. Life's changes are unpredictable, and we, who once worked part-time at a convenience store, had now achieved great success and became figures of public interest. Sometimes we felt like letting loose and relaxing, but the livelihoods of many employees depended on us, so our sense of responsibility was significant. Our company's growth was not solely due to our efforts, but was supported by the support and efforts of many people. As long as we remember this, there should be no problems. However, the situation gradually began to change. Todd's late-night social activities increased, and our life rhythms began to diverge. His spending became increasingly extravagant, often spending tens of thousands in one night, and I could not help but feel concerned about this lifestyle. Todd, even though we have enough money, isn't this lifestyle problematic in the long run? I asked him quietly one day when our conversations had decreased. However, Todd's reaction was unexpected. It's my money that I earned, so I don't see why I should be criticized for how I spend it. I need social settings too, he retorted. Day by day, his alcohol consumption increased, and this change also affected his personality. Once filled with dreams and charm, his words no longer held the same allure. He seemed to believe he was running the company we started together all by himself. Despite my significant contributions to the company, it seemed like he was not seeing my efforts. Although I don't possess technical skills, I have consistently handled public relations since the company's inception and contributed to its growth. However, now that our company has become well known, Todd thinks we no longer need advertising activities. The days when we both worked part-time at a convenience store during financially unstable times now seemed nostalgic. Those times were more enjoyable, and Todd seemed much brighter than now. Those memories gradually began to dominate my thoughts. Recently, with the changes, Todd's behavior had been noticeably influenced by another woman, as he rarely came home anymore. I could not directly ask him about this, but I strongly felt her involvement. He almost ignored me now, while the frequency of him coming home with luxury items for women had visibly increased. Todd might have thought he was hiding the fact, but just seeing the branded bags he brought home made it pretty obvious. When I first saw this, I was excited, hoping it was a surprise gift for me, but unfortunately, such moments of surprise never came. That was when I painfully realized the luxury brand items being purchased were clearly for someone else. The humiliation and shock were indescribable, and for me it was an unprecedented sadness. Yet, I still loved Todd and wholeheartedly believed that the days when we could laugh together again would return. However, I quickly realized that the likelihood of such days returning was almost nil. Despite this difficult situation, I remained loyal to my duties and fulfilled my responsibilities as the public relations manager. No matter what Todd did or said, the consequences of neglecting this job were clear. While my relationship with Todd did not improve, my colleagues within the company continued to show respect towards me. Furthermore, employees aware of Todd's unfaithful behavior understood the situation and even showed sympathy. In essence, Todd's actions were blatantly indicating his involvement with another woman, and the frequency of these incidents was only increasing. In such circumstances, I strongly felt that parting with him was inevitable. Whether I could decide to make that decision on my own was still unclear, but I was preparing myself mentally. If Todd thought I would silently overlook his affairs with other women, he was clearly mistaken. Although I could not grasp his true intentions, I could no longer endure this humiliating situation. After that, Todd never returned to the room we had shared. Our time together had already been decreasing, and it was unlikely that Todd would ever set foot in this room again. While I was away, his belongings were gradually moved out, and soon all traces of his presence had vanished from the room. I had been suggested to change the name on the lease, but I had absolutely no intention of agreeing to such procedures. For the time being, I continued to commute to the company out of necessity until I found a new place to live. Employees did not openly say anything, but they were aware of the rumors about Todd and his new partner. I know they might sympathize with me, but instead of despairing over my current situation, I spent my days thinking about how to handle it. Caught up in such negative thoughts, my spirits had gradually sunk. One day, out of the blue, Todd told me, "My 20-year-old lover is pregnant. I like younger women, so I want a divorce." I was aware that Todd had a lover, but I was shocked to learn she was pregnant. And what does he mean by liking younger women? It's not funny at all. Those words suddenly filled my head. There was so much more I truly wanted to say. However, I was dumbfounded by the words Todd chose. I had never imagined he could be so shallow. Is he even sane? Is this how you say goodbye to a partner with whom you've worked for many years? I have dedicated my life to making his dreams come true, yet to be discarded so easily. However, the next words Todd spoke shocked me even more. "I'm also planning to move in with my lover soon. I'm sorry, but I need you to leave this house. I want a divorce, but I hope you'll continue working. I feel that we no longer need PR, but other employees still think it's necessary." Todd continued, "Now that it has come to this, I'll pay some alimony. Let's avoid any trouble from here on out, shall we? It'll be difficult for you to find a job at your age." Todd condescendingly assumed I had nowhere to go. Yes, the divorce papers. "I'm quitting my job." As Todd made various excuses, I threw the divorce papers at him. He looked incredulous as I sat in front of him, having wanted the divorce himself. Todd looked displeased at my eerie smile. "What? You should take responsibility and continue working." Todd was confident that the company would function without me, but after strong appeals from the employees, it became clear that my departure would harm the company. Even though I was determined to divorce, Todd implied that I shouldn't quit my job. He thought everything would go his way, but he couldn't hide his surprise when I cheerfully said, "I'm quitting my job." "Wait, do you understand what you're saying? Are you planning to take a break?" "That would be fine, but you can't just do as you please." There was still no sign of panic on Todd's face. It seemed he thought I had blurted out something strange in my shock. "That's impossible." Because that woman. At that moment, the door opened without a knock, and a young woman entered. "Is it over, Todd?" Her blonde hair was curled, and her youthful face was buried in thick makeup. She was wearing a revealing outfit, glanced at me, and then walked towards Todd. "Ah, Claire, your timing is perfect. We've just finished talking." Todd said to the woman he called Claire, who was his pregnant lover. Bringing a lover into the workplace was outrageous, but Todd was beyond caring about decency. "I'm worried, so Claire will stay here for a while. I want you to sign the divorce papers soon, but I hope you'll continue working." Todd stated coldly, without ever looking me in the eye. I was stunned with anger and couldn't move for a while. Before I realized it, the two of them were making out as if I didn't exist. I quietly left the room and walked out of the company. I didn't want to stay there any longer that day. One day, while I was at work, an unexpected person approached me. "Excuse me, may I have a moment?" It was Claire. I felt an urge to attack her but desperately restrained myself. "May I have a moment? How could that be okay?" I wasn't ready for anything yet. How could she, the woman who ruined my life, approach me so casually? Her gaze held my anger and hatred as she began to speak. I had no idea that this conversation would change our fate. During her sudden visit, She continued talking while gauging my reaction. Clearly frightened by the anger in my eyes, she said timidly, "Isn't it strange how I can appear before you so boldly?" Claire looked different from when I had last seen her, wearing modest makeup suitable for an it company. Her attire was subdued, highlighting her youthfulness. The woman who wreaked havoc on my life was standing before me. The moment I realized she had addressed me, I was filled with anger and hatred. However, as I continued to talk with her, my anger gradually subsided. Strangely, as I calmed down, I found myself not feeling strong hostility towards the woman in front of me. Why was that? Was it a woman's intuition? Noticing the change in my feelings, Claire looked me straight in the eyes and began to speak. "Do you really want to continue working here, in this company, with a husband who betrayed you and his lover?" I see. Unlike when we first met, there was a sincere look of apology in Claire's eyes now. It was earnest enough to cool my anger. Claire continued, "It may be wrong to say this, but I love Todd. The fact that twins are here in my belly is something that can't be changed. So this is all I can do." With that, Claire took a bank book and a cash card out of her bag. When Todd impregnated me before marriage, my parents were furious with him. To take responsibility, Todd gave me almost all the money he had. Well, he deposited it in my name. By this point, I understood what Claire was trying to say. Todd told my parents that he would transfer all his money to me. He thought he could manipulate me because I'm not smart. But I understand that much. Saying this, Claire took out her smartphone and began to operate it. "I would never do anything to betray your daughter. As proof, I will transfer all the assets I have to your daughter." From Claire's smartphone, Todd's voice could be clearly heard. In other words, there was evidence that Todd had transferred all his assets to Claire. I think it's not good for both of us to stay in this company. I know how rude I am being by saying this, but this is the only apology I can offer. While saying this, Claire handed me the bank book and cash card with her name on it. When I faced Todd again, I had to explain everything to him from scratch. Yes, she asked me to take the money and leave the company. She did it because she loves you and wanted to avoid working with your ex-wife. As I spoke, a look of panic began to appear on Todd's face. The sheer absurdity of the situation made it hard for me to suppress my laughter. "You're not saying that's the money I gave to Claire, are you?" Indeed, it was. Todd never intended to genuinely transfer his assets to Claire. It was just temporarily deposited to deceive Claire's parents, believing he could talk his way out of it if questioned. However, things didn't go as he planned. I explained that I had heard Todd's recorded statement on Claire's smartphone, emphasizing that we were not at fault. "The money you gave to Claire, she can use it however she wants, right?" So I accepted it as alimony. Before I could finish, Todd frantically pulled out his smartphone and tried to contact Claire. But it was too late. After I received the money from Claire, a more significant fact came to light. Unaware of this, Todd was about to be greatly shocked by talking to Claire. Claire didn't answer the phone, but after a while, she appeared in front of us. She was neither angry nor sad, and her expression was unreadable. "Claire, what is this all about?" Unaware of Claire's change in demeanor, Todd yelled, his face turning red. Even as Todd shouted and spat, Claire remained unfazed and threw several photos on the table. "Can you explain this?" Todd's complexion turned pale as he looked at the scattered photos. In each photo, Todd was there, but the women varied. Naturally, these weren't just innocent pictures of Todd and unfamiliar women. In every photo, Todd was intimately arm in arm or embracing each woman. Actually, after meeting Claire, I was called again because there was another matter to discuss. It was about Todd's infidelities. Despite having a wife, he had Claire as a lover, and it was discovered that he had several other affairs as well. I took Todd away from you. But now I've experienced the same thing. It's karma, isn't it? But now I finally see reality. I did love Todd, but I understand what my future holds, Claire said, gently caressing her swollen belly as she looked down. Having finished my role, I was abruptly told by Todd that we would divorce, and I witnessed that scene. Claire understands what is going to happen to her now. It's unfortunate, but that's the kind of person Todd is. You're still young, you can start over. Somehow I found myself sympathizing with Claire, the lover I should have hated. She might have stolen my happiness, but now she is a fellow victim. Fundamentally, Todd is the one at fault. He irresponsibly impregnated Claire and behaved as it suited him. Claire and I formed an unusual bond and vowed revenge against our common enemy, Todd. That's why I knew Claire would come here today. Did you think I wouldn't notice? I wonder what's so good about a scum like you. With all this evidence presented, Todd had no room to argue. There was only one thing Todd could do. Don't mess with me. How dare you do something so underhanded? It's defamation. Give back the money I entrusted. That's all he could do, irrationally shout in anger. Do you remember saying clearly in front of this child, I will transfer it to your daughter? And now you demand a refund. Truly, you are a disgraceful man. There was no mistake in my words. Without the strength to retort, Todd just stomped his feet furiously on the spot. If the CEO is this incompetent, I can see where this company is headed. That's why I'm resigning. Todd understood what it would mean for me to leave the company and didn't want to anger me further. His anger gradually shifted to Claire, this fraudster. You approached me from the start with money in mind. Thinking this, Todd stood up, visibly angry. However, Claire remained composed. Really? Such a worthless man. I considered forgiving you if you showed remorse for the sake of the child I'm carrying, but I'm thoroughly tired of you now. With those words, Claire removed a ring that Todd seemed to have given her. There's no way I'd marry you. I refuse. Then, she violently threw the ring at Todd. Todd stood frozen, just staring blankly at Claire. Pathetic. You understand, don't you, that this isn't the end? When I said this meaningfully, Todd exploded in anger. Are you threatening me? The luxurious life we've had until now was thanks to me. This situation looked pitiful. I felt an urgent desire to sever ties with him completely. Just to make it clear, this company's growth is not thanks to you. Remember what would have happened if you had continued working part-time. Whose efforts do you think the company relies on? When faced with the truth, Todd's face turned even redder. Really pathetic. Incapable of anything but womanizing. If you think you're so competent, stop depending on your wife, Claire said mockingly and left the scene. Soon you'll be ridiculed by everyone. No one will see you for who you really are. A truly miserable life awaits you. With those parting words, I followed Claire. Though she acted tough, Claire was pregnant. We were no longer enemies. Wait a minute. I caught up with Claire just as she was leaving the company building. Hearing my voice, Claire turned around, tears streaming down her face. We're even now. Claire said this, and I handed back the bank book and cash card that she had given me earlier. This belongs to you. I shouldn't have it. As I refused, Claire gently pushed my hand back. I cannot accept that. This is a gift from me to you. I had felt from the beginning when she handed me the bank book that Claire truly loved Todd. It might be needed in the future, but for her, it's just a piece of paper now. Then, please accept at least half. Even if we go to court, Todd no longer has any money left. So, consider this as alimony. Don't you think it's the best for both of us? At my suggestion, Claire returned a smile. Although there was evidence of ownership, I hired a lawyer to double-check and consider the distribution of these funds. Let's seek as much alimony as possible, beyond this money. At my words, Claire nodded firmly. A few days later, I decided to resign from the company. I felt sorry for the employees who supported me, but I couldn't endure any more humiliation. I think you all understand, but unfortunately, this company is unsustainable. It may seem irresponsible, but I have written letters of recommendation to a friend's company. I guarantee good treatment there. I thanked each employee that was involved in this situation. I promised to find them suitable new positions and provide support for their immediate living needs. Why Todd was silent while listening to this. As one's reputation grows, so does the number of both good and bad occurrences. We were a couple frequently featured in the media as business owners. Therefore, Todd's scandal became a prime subject for the media. The source of this story was Claire, the affairs of a competent business owner who often appeared on TV, and the fact that he had impregnated another woman. As a result, the press surrounded the company. For a business owner where trust is everything, this scandal had a disastrous impact. The phone calls canceling business deals never stopped. Nuisance calls and complaints continued unabated. In this situation, Todd had virtually no right to complain. Fearing a rebellion from the employees, Todd obediently left the cleanup to me. It's over. No matter what I said to Todd, his eyes were empty, and he just repeated the same words. This is all self-inflicted. Truly pitiful. Even as I condemned him, all he could do was apologize. The savings we built together, the days we worked tirelessly without rest, we never imagined that such efforts could vanish so effortlessly. Todd is probably reflecting on his actions for the first time in this situation, thinking that we should have continued to encourage each other if we could go back. Lately, I have been thinking about this. But there is no use dwelling on someone else's past actions. Now, I focus on what I can do and work to help those affected return to their normal lives. Todd, now burdened with a massive debt, was of no help at all. Currently, he is unable to handle anything and is holed up in an office room. Moreover, it has come to light that there were other women involved with Todd, not just Claire. These women were causing a daily commotion in front of the company with the media, making various claims. Obviously, their intention to extract considerable alimony from Todd was clear. According to Claire, all the savings Todd had hidden were used up for alimony to his lovers. Todd has literally become penniless, a shadow of his former self, and was in a very tragic state. He was mentally unstable and unable to hold a normal conversation. As time passed, Todd's reputation did not recover, and it would be difficult for him to find work in the future. The price he had to pay for toying with people's emotions was exceedingly high. Thinking about the chaos Todd will face in the future was terrifying. I calmly observed this situation and fulfilled the remaining duties. Soon after, as I had predicted, the company went bankrupt. Our hard-built business ended in this way. As promised, the former employees received appropriate compensation. As for myself, thanks to the funds shared with Claire, I should be able to live comfortably for a while. I can't just relax, though, as I have a job offer from an acquaintance's company that will allow me to utilize my experience, which I plan to accept. In fact, despite Todd's warning that it would be difficult to change jobs at my age, another person encouraged me, contradicting him. Age is not an issue. It's pointless to worry about his words. Later, during a meeting with the lawyer, Claire cheerfully said this. By then, there were no grudges or grievances between us. We had both had our lives disrupted by the same person, which led us to understand and comfort each other. I hesitated with my question about what she planned to do with the baby, but out of concern and care for her, I ended up asking. "I will raise the child alone," she quietly answered. I had anticipated her decision, but hearing it directly from her stirred deep emotions in me. Claire's parents, who had been furious upon learning of her pregnancy and Todd's involvement, learned the truth through the news and decided to offer their support. Their hearts swirled with anger towards Todd for hurting their beloved daughter, but that anger was not directed at Claire. "We squeezed quite a lot of money out of him," Claire said with a broad smile. Her words showed how much she had overcome her past with Todd and was now confidently moving towards a new future. While not everything had settled perfectly, Claire and I were certainly starting new lives. As we embarked on new paths, Todd remained unable to free himself from his past. I might have been in the same situation as Todd once was, but I managed to take a step forward with courage. Thinking about that is frightening, but I've resolved to live humbly and not forget gratitude. By doing so, a wonderful future surely awaits us, and surely happiness will come to Claire and the child she carries.